Hachan Matsui, and I lived on Block 12. Who are our Rohwer folks? I've been asked by Sam Mebo to represent Rohwer today and express our appreciation for being included and recognized. Thank you, Manzanar Committee. We have had 3 reunions, and we are planning the 4th. At the first reunion, George Takei, one of our illustrious internees, who has sent a message today that you will hear later, was a keynote speaker. And I had a chance to say a few words, so I shared with the audience that George and I have been in bed together. Actually, we shared a crib after our tonsils were taken out in Rohwer. I think maybe the surgeon's knife might be responsible for George's melodious voice. At the reunion in, the 3rd reunion in 2000, I was asked to be the keynote speaker. And in my remarks, I shared a story of when I worked for the White House, how I accompanied President Clinton to Little Rock to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the desegregation case at Central High. Our agency was responsible for mediating the outstanding educational issues as directed by the judge. While I was there, I took a personal pilgrimage to Rohwer, and I was accompanied by a son of one of the internees who lives in Little Rock. When I got there, the former swamps, the former camp, had now returned to cotton fields, except for a cemetery and a veterans memorial. And as I walked through the cemetery, it brought back a lot of memories, some of them very happy, and some very painful times. And I remembered the day that I was lined up to be renamed, which means a child with high ideals. But the well-meaning ladies of Arkansas decided to give me an American name, Rose. When I look back, I will tell you that I feel lucky because I could have gotten Petunia.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Can you hear back there by any chance? I wanted to thank 03 that was up here just a little while ago, and thank you very much. I had to get one of these, so and I definitely want to honor and thank Sue, Embry, who made this possible. And the other thing is, I've spoken to a lot of people in quite a few different kinds of crowds. I've never ever felt so inadequate to the task as I do today to address the folks who were survivors of these and 9 other concentration camps. And as long as I'm alive, I will refuse to call them anything but a concentration camp. I wanted you to know that. I also brought my daughter, Mariko, who is 12, and my son, Kenji, so that they could be here to meet these folks. And it's easy to say no more Manzanar. It really is, but how can we be sure? Because it's been 60 years. And unfortunately, I'm here to report to you that today, things have not changed enough for us to say that there will be no more Manzanar. We live today in a world where racism still crushes the hopes of many of our young people. We live in a world where material wealth and really the pursuit of that type of wealth is considered a value system. And it should not. And we live in a society where the resources that we have available have been used for every single purpose except that to reduce the human suffering and that of enriching humanity. So, you know, I can't say that we live in a world that is much different, and today we are in the middle of a war again. And we still live in a country where we Japanese Americans are not American enough for many people. And I'm sorry to report that too, because we should have known better by 1942. We had the 14th Amendment. We had the due process. We had a fundamental belief system that every human being here was worthy of protection. And then in fact, they were worthy of dying for it. And yet with a stroke of a pen, we abandoned those values and we sent people to these camps and these prison camps with guns pointing at the people here. And you know, really, I have to be honest with you. The ability of one single person to put a law into place that will send 120,000 people to camps like this, listen, I can't trust you or myself as individuals to do the right things just because I said I will or just because Mr. Bush said he will. And let me say this. I started crying. I couldn't help it. Because, yes, they could take me away. And we have had that discussion since then. And they know that if we were here in 1942, we would be taken away. And so make no mistake, that law is still here. And how easily, you know, we forget the past. There was a group called the American Society for Historical Accuracy. Anybody hear of them? Any of the young people? They were the people that said this internment wasn't bad, that redress was not necessary. And I want every one of the young people here to know that these people were serious, okay? And I can't justify the kind of examples that they used. They showed photographs of young people. They're smiling, they were happy there. You know, my daughter, no matter what condition she's in, if you put a camera in front of her, she's gonna smile. And it's normal, it's natural. But she used things like that. And you know, as children, we learn about the cherry tree that was cut down. Of course, George Washington never did that, but we teach a lie to teach a lesson about the truth. I mean, that's what we do. It's kind of ironic to me, too. But, so what we have to do then, it is our task to educate those people who said this wasn't bad. We have to make a place in our hearts and the hearts of our children that this existed, and the way we do that is we listen to the folks who were here. And we listened to the folks who were in 9 other camps, and we listened to the folks who were kidnapped from Peru and sent to Texas. And they couldn't get back to their own country that they came from, and they couldn't get here because they had no papers. We listened to them. And we talked to people. When they say, oh, it was just a summer camp, we say, no, I was there. I met the people. It was a concentration camp. It was not a relocation center. That's what we do. And for my generation, it's very English well, okay? And I know you've had to answer this. Where do you come from? I come from the United States. Challenge them. What is your name? Smith. Are you from the Smith, the British Smythe derivative, or the German Schmidt derivative? Jones. Which Jones family do you represent? And keep asking them till they say, stupid, huh? And you say, yes. Very stupid. Okay? And so we don't belong. And so what we have to do is we have to take a leadership role for them, for Sue, for George, for Rose. We have to make a difference so that the lessons that we learned then was indeed learned. And we have to honor those survivors of the internment. So please, for those of us here that weren't part of the internment, please join me in this movement, in this struggle to change the ability of a one single person without authority of Congress, without any charges being pressed, without any due process, to imprison this many people. And let us one day say, as Americans, that yes, we did violate the civil rights and liberties of Japanese Americans, of American citizens, unjustly. And let us admit that we did these things under the pretense of ignorance and fear and extreme racism. And that's what it was. We have to call it what it is. And let us admit finally, it was morally, legally, and ethically wrong. But let us say proudly then, that we have righted that wrong once and for all.